Is this thing on?
Are you ready, Matt?
You're listening to Box Office Bingers
with Matt Diaz and Ernesto Santos.
Good evening, folks. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Box Office Bingers.
And the only way that I know how to do it is to find you a bloody good dump.
He's my friend. I don't have friends. I got family.
I can do this all day.
You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Box Office Bingers. Ernesto, we decided to pivot from our original plan. So tell the lovely people what we are reviewing this week.
So we are actually going to be reviewing Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. This is the third movie in the Knives Out installment, starring Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, and Daryl McCormick. Written and directed by Rian Johnson, who did Knives Out, Glass Onion, Looper, Star Wars, episode... 7?
Episode 8.
Episode 8. I forget. I was like, what? V33? I don't know. I just couldn't remember which one it was. All right.
I can't read letters.
I can't read letters. What are those Roman things? Episode 8, The Last Jedi. So, man, I got to get through this. So, we were going to review Hamnet. Which we're going to be talking about in Whatcha Watchin, but we kind of decided to make a little pivot this week. So, Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out will be our main review, and we will be talking about Hamnet just because we mentioned that's what we would review, and it's high up there for the award season. So we kind of just want to make sure we have that conversation about it.
Yeah, and I feel like this rarely happens in a way. I mean, this has happened in the past, but like after we finish watching a movie, I feel like there is another movie that we can have a deeper conversation about rather than the movie that we selected and watched. And it happens from time to time. And this is one of those situations that it happens.
It happens.
It happens.
We made a change.
But yeah, I do look forward to watching Wake Up Dead Man. I had the privilege of watching this one in theaters. And so I had a limited run in theaters. And then right before Thanksgiving. And then this movie just hit Netflix this past weekend. So, I mean, for Rian Johnson, for what he's done so far with this trilogy, is kind of incredible when you think about it. You know, he basically kind of reinventing the mystery genre and then building an already impressive career, especially with Looper and with The Last Jedi. You know, say what you want about that movie. It's definitely divided by fans as one of the better Star Wars movies or one of the worst. It's literally back and forth depends on you ask on the Star Wars fan. But I think it's undeniable that his mystery thrillers, his Knives Out, Glass Onion, and now Wake Up Dead Man, have been very much widely loved and appreciated.
I mean, I'm more or less, I like them. I really enjoy them. It's like picking up an Agatha Christie novel almost.
Yeah, and I do like the way that he tells the story. Obviously, we'll dive into a little bit later in the show, but I like how he basically reinvented the genre and gave it some, some excitement. I mean, there's very easily traditional murder mysteries, but he makes it engaging and like, oh, you really don't know where it's going, which is fun as a viewer.
Yeah, it's fun. I always enjoy them, so I'm excited to kind of dive into that later.
Yes, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his previous films have been in the awards conversation before. I'm going to briefly look at this. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Knives Out was nominated for, where are we? For an Oscar at that year for Best Original Screenplay. And Glass Onion was, let's see, also nominated for an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yeah, I thought I remember us. We talked about it.
Adapted. Huh. That's interesting. It says original for the first movie, but adapted for the second. I wonder where his inspiration came from as no longer an original take. So there's a good chance that Wake Up Dead Man might take a three-peat on the screenplay front for the Oscars. I mean, it has shown that it's done it before. But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about Wake Up Dead Man a little bit later in the show. Also in our What You're Watching, including in addition to Hamnet, we're gonna be talking about Zootopia 2, the latest movie to hit $1 billion at the box office.
Hmm.
So we'll talk about the movie itself and its box office success. And we'll also talk about Stranger Things season 4, or sorry, Stranger Things 5, which is Stranger Things season 5, volume 1 that came out over the Thanksgiving holiday. We're going to be talking about that as well. So stick around. We got a lot to talk about this week. But before we talk about any of those, we're going to be diving into some entertainment news. And the entertainment news this week is brought to you by the award season, specifically the 2026 award season. And typically, right now is the once you see the honorees for the National Board of Review, that's it, folks.
We're in it.
We're in it now. These are the highly talked about movies of the season for the most part, and that just gets the ball rolling. After that, we're going to be having a lot of conversations about the awards moving forward. But the National Board of Review has announced their 2025 honorees with top honors or top awards going to one battle after another for best film, best director for Paul Thomas Anderson, and best actor for Leonardo DiCaprio. Best actress went to Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Top films went to Avatar: Fire and Ash, F1, Frankenstein, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, Rental Family, Sinners, Train Dreams, Wake Up Dead Man: A Knives Out Mystery, and Wicked for Good. Established in 1909, the National Board of Review is an organization that recognizes excellence in filmmaking and is dedicated to discussing and selecting what its members regard as the best film works of each year. This year, 265 films were viewed by a selection group of film enthusiasts, filmmakers, professionals, academics, and students, many of which were followed by in depth discussions with directors, actors, producers, and screenwriters.
Can I just say, I wish I could do that. That sounds like
Yeah.
amazing. If I could sit down and analyze movies and then talk to the people who made them and just have conversations with them. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, where can we sign up for that?
Yeah, how do we do that? How do we do that?
I want to talk about movies. I want these in-depth discussions.
I want all that.
And we do have them.
Yeah, we do.
We have them here on the show, but we don't. But as far as that's concerned, no. But to have to basically be given 265 movies, which we probably consume just about that over the years.
Yeah.
Or yeah, just about. But also that a lot of conversations to have, and this is what they came up with, is quite interesting.
Yeah, and it's good to see that we've knocked out a lot of these that are on this list already. There's a couple on there that I definitely want to hit up, like Marty Supreme, which I haven't seen yet. Rental Family, which I'm actually gonna go. I think I'm gonna plan to go see that this week.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, this is a good list. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, Wicked for Good's on there, but I don't know. I'm not hearing too much other buzz about it either from anywhere else.
It's very quiet. It's very quiet after the initial buzz came out for Wicked for Good. It's definitely a different tone coming from the first Wicked movie that had a lot of popular buzz shortly after well after the movie came out. But yeah, Rental Family is still available in theaters. Fire and Ash comes out this coming weekend at the time of this recording, and Marty Supreme doesn't come out until Christmas Day. So.
And let me tell you, I booked my tickets for Avatar: Fire and Ash, and the whole weekend, every theater, almost every single showing was completely sold out. I was like, damn, I should have bought my tickets a long time ago.
Damn, I'm not surprised. I mean, Avatar's it's arguably one of the biggest movies of the year.
It will be. I mean, it most definitely will. There's always this. Where I feel like the last one that came out, people were like, "Oh, we don't know if it's gonna be good," and then it was amazing. And it's just I'm sure it's gonna be like a technical masterpiece.
I'm sure, and it's always funny because I even have this thought too. It's always like, "Can Avatar do it again?" And then it's like, "Yeah, bitch."
Yeah, James Cameron's like, "Sit down, bitch. Let me show you what filmmaking is."
I'm gonna show you what innovative entertainment looks like. Boom. There's your blue cat.
There's your
Go ahead. You're gonna love it.
Put the glasses on. This is how you watch it.
Why are you watching on normal screen? Put your glasses on. Get the big screen. Get the moving chairs. You know you want to see it all.
Oh, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it in Dolby 3D.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, it's one of the few movies that kind of warrants a 3D viewing.
Yeah, it's the only one that I break that. I almost never see movies in 3D. But regardless, I'm excited. This is a great list. A lot of these we've seen. Especially, it's good to see that Sinners. It's always hard for when like a really good movie comes out in the beginning of the year, and if it's still in the conversation now, that should say a lot.
Absolutely, and that's what happened with Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
That was that last year?
Yeah, it's funny because there's usually one movie from the beginning of the year that kind of carries over through the rest of the year. That's like, wow, that was like the best movie of the first part of the year.
Yeah, and it's always somewhere around like the spring season where you have like it's either in the month of March or like between March and April where they have just like bangers to hit you during the springtime.
Yeah.
And this year Sinners was on that list, and yeah, it was. I mean, rightfully so. That movie was amazing, and Ryan Coogler did an incredible job with that movie. So I'm happy to see that it's continuing that trend. A movie that I'm actually quite surprised that people are talking about is Train Dreams. I barely ever heard of this movie up until very recently, and now it's like slowly creeping into the conversation, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, it was like kind of like a sleeper. Like once I think it hit a lot of the festival circuits early, but then then they waited till now for this is when it actually dropped on Netflix. But the people who I follow who go to festivals, they're like, this was like a hit from the festival at the beginning of the year, like so it's just been a long time for that one to kind of creep up. Like people are finally able to start probably talking about it. But it was another really good movie.
And I'm also excited to see F1 also make this list because as you know, I really enjoyed that movie.
So I mean, I still listen to that score. That score made it to the playlist. Hans Zimmer.
Oh, it's so good.
That's a workout song.
That's a banger. That's a banger.
That's a banger. Damn
man,
you, Hans Zimmer. He does it again.
That man's a master.
He actually is.
He can do no wrong. But yeah, again, the National Board of Review is basically the kickoff of the kind of the prelude of what the awards season is going to be looking like, and it continues on to the next piece of news we got.
Yeah. So now we're going to be talking about the 2025 honorees for the AFI Awards, which have been announced. The American Film Institute honorees include 10 outstanding films and 10 outstanding TV programs deemed culturally and artistically representative of this year's most significant achievements in the art of the moving image. Motion Pictures of the Year goes to Avatar, Fire and Ash, Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, Train Dreams, Wicked for Good. Television programs of the year goes to Adolescence, Andor, Death by Lightning, The Diplomat, The Lowdown, The Pit, Pluribus, Severance, The Studio, and Task. The AFI Special Award went to It Was Just an Accident. Another one we've hit most of these on this list. I know we missed Begonia when it was in and out of theaters. It's good to see that Jay Kelly, it wasn't getting as much love before, but it's good to see that it's still kind of in the conversation.
Yeah, what's actually really interesting comparing now the two lists, we have the National Board of Review celebrating their honorees, and we have the AFI. I just thought it was interesting that they awarded the best film to One Battle After Another, but after now reading it, it was not on the top films category. So I thought that was weird. First of all, but I guess maybe the top film is, the best film is in a separate category as the top films, which I think is kind of odd, but whatever.
Number one and the rest.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But Hamnet and Begonia was not on the National Board of Review's list.
Yeah.
Those are the big distinctions there. In addition to like F1 was not on this list, for example.
And it's always interesting because like when we go through each of these lists, there's going to be a lot of repeats. But then there's
Yes.
always like the ones that are on some, but then not on the other. So it's always interesting to see the variations between the different awards.
Yeah, and also at the very end of the day, with the biggest award for film is the Oscars. So see out of all of those lists, which ones they kind of put above the rest between all these lists. Because now, based off these two lists alone, we have a good idea of at least the films that will most likely be nominated um, at the Oscars. At least I would say half of these movies will probably be nominated for Best Picture.
I was just gonna say, I said I could already see there's about 4 or 5. If I had to guess, obviously one battle after another, probably
Mhm.
Frankenstein, Sinners, Train Dreams, Wicked for Good. What's another one I see all the time? Probably Avatar.
Yeah, I seen Avatar as a hit or miss. Like, I mean, granted, it's being recognized, but it's not, I feel I've been hearing some rumblings that it might not crack the Best Picture. Will be the first Avatar film not to do so.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
don't know. I don't know. They, people talked a lot of shit about his movies. They always talk shit before his movies come out.
yes, that's so true. That is so true. And then he's sitting on his throne as opening weekend comes out. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Go see my blue
enjoy the
people.
go
put
see.
put them damn glasses on.
I'm the king of the blue cats. He's here as he's going about his Titanic boat.
Yeah. He's sitting in his Titanic watching Avatar.
Yes.
flying around on his little, like, those little blue raptor things. Like the little bird things. He connects with them and he goes flying off.
Yeah, he goes flying off. Yeah, he has one. Like that's not visual effects. That's real.
That's real.
He made one and it's in the movie.
Well, all the money he's made, he genetically engineered one because each one has made like over $1 billion. So
Both made over $2 billion.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Crazy. But yeah, to your point, it's interesting to see the two differences back and forth. But then now introducing the film, the TV category. I mean, Adolescence was a huge hit.
amazing.
Severance was incredible. Season 2. The studio was funny as hell. I loved Andor. I love seeing Andor on this list. It's probably one of the best, Star Wars television shows out there easily. Andor was incredible. Um,
Also,
and then another,
Pluribus. Pluribus
yeah,
is not even done and it's already on the list.
yes. So clearly they have seen the ending. Maybe I don't
Wow.
know. But I do think it's interesting that some of these shows that even like some that I didn't really hear about, like Death by Lightning.
Yeah, wave.
Barely heard,
Barely heard about it.
I barely heard about that. There's always a lot of love for the Diplomat that I see here, and Task. Task is like one of it's from the creator of Mayor of Easttown, which I loved, by the way.
Hmm.
And so Task has also been on my list of like it's one of those shows that it's on the high priority list of like shows to eventually watch. But and that show is like it came and went already, but I've heard nothing but great things about Task. So I'm happy to hear that it made a list, and so I look forward to.
Is that a you show or is that a you and Megan show?
That's a me show.
Ah, okay.
But Task, like I can see myself enjoying it more than the two of us.
Okay.
But yeah, that's but yeah, and then also for the special award, it was Just an Accident. That is a foreign film, most likely a top contender for the best international film category for the Oscars, and that had a very limited run in theaters, and so kind of waiting for the VOD to hit that so we can catch that eventually. But yeah, it's interesting to see that as again movies that are not really talked about throughout the year, movies that kind of fly under the radar, but yet now they're getting some traction once the nominations start. Moving on to the other awards. This is a big one. The 31st, the Critics Award. The Critics Choice Association has officially announced the film and TV nominations for the 31st annual Critics Choice Awards. The Best Picture nominees are Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Train Dreams, and Wicked for Good. Best Drama Series, the nominees went to Alien Earth, Andor, The Diplomat, Paradise, The Pit, Pluribus, Severance, and Task. Best Comedy Series nominees are Abbott Elementary, looked like Elizabeth, Ghosts, Hacked, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Buildings, and surprisingly, The Righteous Gemstones and The Studio. The 31st Annual Critics' Choice Awards will air live on E on Sunday, January 4th. So this would be the first major award show that will be aired and to kind of give us an idea of, again, the Oscars moving forward on like, see who wins here, what's the top contenders, and even this Best Picture list. Like, I'm surprised to see Begonia on that list.
Yeah, I mean it was on the last two, but then it wasn't on what was the first one we talked to AFI. It wasn't on the AFI
No,
list.
it wasn't on the National Board of Review. It
Oh,
was
you're
on the
right.
AFI.
Yes, you're right. You're right. All right.
But yeah, it's surprising to see that movie, to see that one on there. I'm trying to also see. Here we go. Yeah, so as I'm looking here, also for like best actor, there is a lot of the um like the a lot of the films that are associated for best picture are also grabbing best actor as well. You have Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Michael B. Jordan as for Sinners, Joel Egerton in Train Dreams, which he did have an incredible performance. Another one that hasn't even been mentioned yet, Ethan Hawke for a movie called Blue Moon.
Mm.
Um, and Wagner Morrow, I might have mispronounced that one. And another movie we haven't talked about, which is a movie I don't believe has hit theaters yet. It's called The Secret Agent, which is another foreign film. And then Best Actress went to Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another, Renate Renstiv for Sentimental Value, Amanda Seyfried for The Test of Anne Lee, which is not a movie we talked about,
Mm-mm.
and Emma Stone for Begonia. And the kind of list goes on. It's notably that in other categories that we'll talk about later, and from what I remember, Cynthia Erivo was not nominated for Best Actress.
Mm.
However, Ariana Grande was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Wicked, which is a difference of what happened last year. And then the Annie Manigan, who played the creepy witch in Weapons, got nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Critics' Choice, which I found very interesting.
That's an interesting one.
Yes, and then the kind of list goes on of some of the interesting ones, like Best Director, you have Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, um, Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein, Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, um, Joaquin Terror for Sentimental Value, and Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. Again, Marty Supreme is a movie that we have not seen yet, but again, these are the movies that are kind of getting a lot of love around this season, and yeah, Andy Samberg got the supporting acting nom at the Critics' Choice, but not George Clooney for Best Actor. Another movie we haven't talked about either is uh, Sentimental Value. Another movie this is the first time we're even seeing this on anyone's list.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's another foreign film that is being I think it's a Norwegian film and is being highly looked at, and we just missed it in the theaters. So it should be hopping on VOD fairly soon. So we want to catch it there as well. But again, like we're seeing a clearer picture. The movies that tend to have repeaters as we continue on these lists are most likely the ones that are going to be nominated. But it's just interesting to see. And again, I'm very surprised to see like Train Dreams, a movie that we kind of still on the radar, being recognized all over for every award. And also Wicked for Good. That one we had favorable reviews about this movie, but the fact that it's not being highly talked about on the back end, but it's still getting all the nominations. I wonder if that's going to be a unfortunate circumstance for Wicked of like, yeah, it's there, but it's not going to win anything type of deal.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. We also got the nominations for the 2026 Golden Globes have officially been announced. One Battle After Another lead among film categories with 9 total nominations, followed by Sentimental Value with 8, Sinners with 7. In the TV category, The White Lotus scored the most nominations with 6, followed by Adolescence earning 5 nominations, and Severance and Only Murders in the Building both earning 4 each. For Best Cinematic and Box Office Achievements, the nominations went to Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Sinners, Weapons, Wicked for Good, and Zootopia 2. The live presentation of the Golden Globes will air on January 11th on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. So once again, we're seeing a lot of the same names kind of enter the conversation. I am kind
Yeah.
of I am kind of curious. Not curious. I'm surprised that The White Lotus is getting so many nominations. Like, it was good, but I didn't think it was that good. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree with you. I was like, "Really?
Yeah.
The White Lotus?" Like,
Over Adolescent, like when you compare it to Adolescence, like get
yeah.
out of here. Like Adolescence, like that show changed the game.
Yeah, what I find interesting is, again, if you look at the best pictures for, because the Golden Globes are different because they have it split between drama and comedy. So they have more films to nominate, but again, films that we've seen that's kind of been popping up in every kind of organization that we've talked about, but then some we haven't heard before. So like best drama goes to Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Three of those movies are foreign films. And a lot of what we were talking about just recently are nowhere to be seen. As you notice, if you look at the music comedy and musical category, Wicked is not on there. They did not put Wicked in that category. It's interesting to see that One Battle After Another is in the comedy and musical category rather than the drama, which I can see it, but
Yeah.
it's not really a comedy.
See, but it's also not really a drama either. It's almost
Yeah, I guess
like
so.
if I had to classify it, I would probably classify it as like a dark comedy.
I guess. I guess. And speaking of musical and comedy, in addition to One Battle After Another, you have Blue Moon, which is a movie I just mentioned earlier. Begonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, which is another high contender in the foreign film category for that's being also talked about. Nouvelle Vogue, which is like a black and white film. I'm not sure exactly what it's about, but that's kind of one of those like interesting ones that has just popped up for the Golden Globes, have not been talked about widely. Another film on Netflix you can easily watch if it could get some more attention. Um, yeah, and so like here's some other movies that we haven't really talked about, and yet now they're creeping into the Golden Globes that wasn't recognized at the Critics' Choice, and then again see which one kind of teeters out at the end. And again, the Critics' Choice, they were always like they've been kind of all over the place when it comes to when those awards come out, and then there was a whole thing with the Golden Globes a few years back, and that seems to have settled itself. And so now the Critics' Choice have taken like the beginning of the major award season, followed by the Golden Globes, and then of the Oscars, which feels so far away after that, which is in mid March, after the first 2 weeks of January. And there's always been the conversation of should the Oscars be earlier, because it kind of feels very far away that you're awarding movies that came out in 2025 when you're already a third into 2026.
Yeah, I get that, but I like that it's where it's at only because it gives us time to go through all the other awards, and then the Oscars is like the one that wraps up the season.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard an argument saying that the Oscars should start it, and then the other one should finish it, which I find an interesting. Um,
I don't know. Because also like a lot of the stuff we don't really have time, like once you get the list of like the nominations, like it's very limited time. Even the time we have, I feel is very limited to try to get like the ones that we missed throughout the year to try to get
right.
in. They don't
Yeah,
make it
and
they don't
like
make it easy for like oh, I'm gonna go ahead and get on my soapbox again. They don't make it easy for people who want to watch the Oscars and
yeah.
like want to feel more within the program, if I guess that makes sense. Like, well, we want to
Hmm.
be part of the decision. So like the ones that we miss, like they make it so hard for you to find like all the shorts, all the docu shorts.
Yeah.
Like Matt, you have to do like this massive research project once we get the nominations to try to find everything. And even then, like it's hard to try to find stuff because then it's like certain stuff's only available like a couple weeks like a couple weeks after the nominations, or like I don't know. Like it feel like
Or
it's a lot harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, and there's also some things that were available for free, but once they get the nomination, they pull it, and then they have to go through some rights issues and stuff like that. It's always a fun game to play when award season comes out shortly after the nominations. That's why very quickly once the nominations comes out, if I have the time, I do that like quick initial research to get all the stuff that we haven't watched, and then try to prioritize the ones that are most likely to no longer be available
Yeah.
very quickly, and then we go down the rest of the month to try to find the rest of them. But yeah, as far as the TV shows, The White Lotus is kind of a surprise here because
Yeah.
no other organization really talked about White Lotus. But we have some repeaters here like Pluribus, Severance, The Pit, The Diplomat. The Golden Globes always love Abbott Elementary. Nobody Wants This and Only Murders in the Building has been there before. Newcomer and as well as Hacks and The Bear.
Yeah.
The studio is one of the newer comers this year, and so kind of some repeaters here that we've used to seeing in these award shows. But kind of looking as a whole, movies that are kind of consistent all the way through, One Battle After Another, Sinners, Frankenstein, Marty Supreme. I think those four movies have been looked at every single organization we talked about today.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
if you want to, I think Hamnet missed one, Begonia missed one, and some of the foreign films weren't mentioned in the others, but like we got 4 that hit all 4 we talked about. I mean, just doing some math here, that's a pretty good contender. Like, those 4 movies might easily be looked at for Best Picture this year. Again, that's One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, Sinners, and Frankenstein.
Yeah, a lot of that's what I mean. Like a lot of these smaller award shows, they kind of lay the tracks leading to the Oscars.
Yeah. And then what's left after this, because these are the major ones, we still have some of the smaller awards like the Writers Guild Awards, the Screen Actors Guild Awards, the Directors Guild Awards, and some other ones that might come out along the way. And that kind of fine tunes some of those other categories. Like once we get the nominations for writing, we have an idea for screenplay. Then acting's obviously for acting, and then for directors. And then from the rest of it is kind of like they kind of like when we talked about visual effects, when we talk about um, uh, visual effects and production and costuming, it's more or less pulling from the same list of films that were kind of mentioned throughout all the other categories. What's also interesting to note, I want to make sure that um, Best Picture went through. Yeah, I think it's interesting to note that Avatar: Fire and Ash was not recognized for Best Picture in critics and for Golden Globes. I think that's worth noting. So like it was recognized for top honorees at the AFI and the National Board of Review. When it came for the big awards, nowhere to be seen. So that's why I mentioned earlier. It's like Avatar: Fire and Ash might not get that Best Picture after all.
Well, we'll see.
They're kind of giving a lot of love to a lot of the foreign films that are being highly talked about this year.
It's also good that it seems that that we do pay more attention to other foreign films. Like more, I feel like ever since Boon Joon Ho, like we've noticed them, but not more so within the past 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
Like an
yeah,
increase of
100%.
like, I mean, it's one of bless you, it's one of our favorite things that we do. Like looking at
Mhm.
different foreign films from different countries. Like
Yeah,
sometimes some of those have been like my favorite of the year. You know,
yeah, yeah. I remember very distinctly RRR being one of those. Is like
perfect
that movie
example.
was incredible.
What was the other one?
Oh, Godzilla minus one, another one of my favorites of that year.
Oh my gosh. Um, Society of the Snow. There was
Oh yeah.
the other one with the married French couple.
Oh, an Anatomy of a Fall.
Yes, Anatomy of a Fall. That was a great movie.
Yeah, that was a really good movie too. But yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, I think the award shows are kind of giving recognition more on the forefront to some of these foreign films. And again, these are just we are we are months away from the Oscars, but this is just the start of it. So this is not the last time we're going to be talking about a lot of these movies. And again, once the Critics' Choice winners are announced, as well as the Golden Globes, we're going to have discussion about the winners, and then that might be able to fine tune again what some of the Oscars are going into. We're just getting started, folks. We're in it now. We're in
Yeah.
the award season, and that's kind of where we thrive at pretty much the first third of the of the year. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about this up until the award season. So if this is not your favorite time of year, I apologize. We will be talking about other big movies like Avatar: Fire and Ash and some of the other big movies that come out during the springtime as well. We're well-rounded here at Box Office Bingers.
Yeah.
That's why they call us Box Office Bingers. We binge everything in the box office. That's right. That is all the news we have for you guys this week. As always, you can follow us on our Facebook page at Box Office Bingers and our Threads and Instagram page at Box Office_Bingers. We'll post all the news over there first, and then we'll come back on the show and we'll talk about it. So with that, we're going to be diving into a fun segment we like to call What You Watchin'. So Ernesto, we'll start with you. What have you been watching?
So we have a bunch of stuff that we're sharing this week, but the main one, which we just finished talking about quite a bit during this award season, is Pluribus, Vince Gilligan's new show, the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I just love how like refreshing this show is because it's so different from anything else that's out there. Like the basic premise is that Rhea Seehorn, who's from Better Call Saul, she's the lead in this show, and she's in this world where she's one of 12 people who are not connected to this like group consciousness. There's like almost like a virus that takes over the world, and everybody is connected, and they're this one. I don't even want to say person, but there's this one entity, but they're all connected through everybody else in the world except for 12 people. And they're trying to get her character name is Carol, and they're trying to get her to join, but she's like the most negative person. Like she's out to like try to for them not to join. She wants to get her friends back. Like it's like it's really interesting because like they're like really nice to her, and they give her and the people who are not like them exactly what they want. Like anything they want, they'll give it to them. And then there's this whole setup where they get mad at her, but they still want to help her. So she would pick up the phone, like she would just hit 0, and it's like, hey, Carol. They're like, hey, Carol, we just need some space, but if you leave a message, we'll get you whatever you need. And like some of the setups that they put is really funny. Like they have her. She asked for them to pick up her trash, and they go, all right, well, it needs to be at least this much weight. And you need to put it on the curb. And then, like, I just also like the way Vince Gilligan, like the way he shoots his shows, because even the setup is even in the cinematography. So it's like you just hear this whirring, and you're like, oh shit! And they send a drone to go pick up the trash, and there's this whole comedy bit with them picking up the trash, and it just works. Like it just works.
Is it a comedy?
Yes, yeah. It's like a dark. It's like also not like a dark comedy, but it's more comical than it is dramatic. But it's really really funny. It's really good.
I heard the best way to go in there is almost blind because there's like it's very random. You don't really know what it's about, and part of the fun is also watching it kind of unfold to see what the story gets into. The fact that it's still kind of going on, and a lot of people are talking about it, is the testament of how good this show is. And I've always noticed that Vince Gilligan, he kind of has a slow build to his shows, and it doesn't seem like this is the case here.
But I mean, I don't know. That's just season 1. I'm hooked. Like I've been hooked since the pilot. It's really funny. It's shot really well. It's also written really well. Like it's just his writing is just superb. Like he's an expert at his craft.
Yeah, much like what was the other show I forgot the other show I just talked about, but this is on the high. Task.
Yeah.
Between this and Task is the two shows that are like I really want to watch that I just haven't gotten time to. As you said you haven't finished it yet, but I know we're going to talk about this more in a future episode. But I'm going through it. Welcome to Derry right now, and
do you need an adult?
I'm trying to, sorry,
do you need an adult?
I mean, I think everyone needs an adult in that show. The adults need the adults in that show. The show's nuts, and we'll dive deeper into it once we've completed the whole series. But that's the latest show I just watched because there is a lot of hype around that show as well. Between like it's a good time for television. Like I think the two top shows have been Pluribus and It Welcome to Derry. And I'm actually surprised, even with it, how good it is. Like it's very engaging and also incredibly horrifying. Just by the visuals is horrifying alone.
Man, you said you're 3 episodes into that one?
I'm 3 episodes in. Yeah, I've seen already horrific things.
Yeah, this is just the beginning.
Which is nuts.
Actually the finale just aired last night on the 4th.
Yeah.
We're recording on the 15th, and that's the one me and my wife have left to watch, and I cannot wait to finish watching that. And so now I'm kind of excited to kind of hold on to it, and then I want to have that conversation with you after hearing your experience.
Yes, because it is in a way an experience. Each episode it offers something incredibly gruesome to look at. But there's also a point to it as well, which is also interesting um within all that as well. But again, we'll dive into that later. And but yeah, Pluribus has been my my second show to like, okay, once I'm done here, I want to watch Pluribus, I want to watch Task. I got a list. We got to get down that list.
Yeah, this one definitely needs to be up on the list. And as you see from the award season, it's been every time it's nominated, it's not even done yet. That's the best
Yeah.
part is that it's still airing right now. I don't think we've hit the finale just yet.
No, I think I saw it has at the time of this recording 2 more episodes. Let's see. The finale is December 26th. So the Friday after Christmas.
Mm.
So you got 2 more left.
Two more left. Yeah. And it's already being nominated, and we haven't even hit the finale yet. So that just lets you know how good it actually is.
Yeah. That's all the shows you have, right?
Yeah, that's all. And everything else is stuff that we've shared.
Yeah. Okay. So the first show we're going to talk about is you said you only saw the pilot?
Yeah.
You saw the pilot. The first episode?
Yeah, I only saw the first episode where they were doing like an Olympic interview, and they had to help get this girl out of there, and that was like a whole thing. Okay.
Yes. I had finished the morning show. This is a show that Megan and I watched. And we kind of went through that more or less fairly quickly. And I think it had just finished, but like the season just finished when we started, or the last episode was about to drop when we started the season. So I mean, this was coming up week to week. I didn't really hear much about the show
Mm-mm.
overall. And I will say that the first half of the show I really enjoyed.
Mm.
The second half, I don't know what happened.
So are you done?
We've with the show.
No, I mean, like, are you like okay? Like, well, I guess this is a 2-part question. Do you think they've set up for another season to continue?
Yes.
And then are you going to be continuing on next season? I guess.
I feel like this is 4 seasons deep, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
This show has taken a sorry, Megan just texted me. She said she just slept through. She's hearing me from the other room, and she told me because you slept through that whole part.
Wow, she's calling you out.
She's calling me out. She really enjoyed this season, and she's telling me that I'm wrong because I was sleeping most of the show. That's basically what she's telling me right now.
So you just need Matt. You have to pay attention.
I have to.
So that's what it is, Megan. He's just not paying attention.
But I haven't paying attention because after the episode, I'll be like, what just happened here? What we just watched? Don't get me wrong. There's some really good stuff in there.
Okay.
There's some really good stuff that when it pertains to the news part of it's really good. But there's a large portion of the show that is not technically about that.
Yeah.
It is and it isn't. It kind of strays away from the drama that can be happening around a large news organization working for a big network. And then there's another part of the show that takes a turn and it goes to a more I don't want to spoil it for you since you haven't seen it, but it goes in a different direction in which it's kind of related and it's more of like investigative reporting. But to me, it just becomes really uninteresting.
Mm.
And then there's other avenues where it takes a large portion of the show where we dive into Jennifer Aniston's character and her father, and then Billy Cup's character and his mother. And to me, they're kind of drawn out and like, it really brings the mood down. Like, I don't care. And then they kind of bring all of that together at one point for the larger narrative. But I don't know. I just felt like some of that was just very choppy. And then like I think they ended strong by trying to tie all that up together. But the middle part of the second half, I'm like, my God, what are we doing? Like, I don't know what. It's just so boring. And so I was a little bit frustrated watching it. But then the first half, it was like great. There was this great sequence when there was breaking news, and I was like, yes, here we go. There was some drama happening with some of their main stars that we've been following in the newsroom, and they had a turn in their character as well. And I was like, yeah, this is great. But then again, second half didn't really live up to what the first half started. So I was a little bit frustrated watching it. Is less disappointed, more frustrated because I know what this show can be and I've enjoyed the other seasons so far. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It was pretty interesting. Like, they were having this Olympic interview, and then the interviewer wanted to defect, and then it
Mhm.
became like this big chase of trying to follow them through the street, and a street crash, and then they got away. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, well, like it seems like they're going for more of a political angle. I do think it was interesting. They were talking about just like having different news stories on, and like
Mhm.
trying to lean towards one audience and trying to use it to pick up another audience.
Yes, and that stuff is interesting. Like they introduced this new character called Bro Hartman, and he is like this political podcast that's the network also has with their new merger that was within the season last season. And like a few I think years have passed since season 3 and 4. And so like all that stuff is great. But again, we kind of get muddled and like there's so many things happening at one time that it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. But then it kinda spits back out. It's like, "Okay, that was a solid ending, but I don't know what that middle part was." So, I feel like we were just doing a little bit too much, and we could have simplified this a lot. Because, like, for example, you would think that the Olympics is a big deal, and it's kind of like a secondary storyline in the overarching storylines that is happening.
Mm.
And I thought, the Olympic is a great presence overall, but we didn't really amount to much with that storyline. Or that, like I thought that was gonna be a bigger part of the season.
So I'm feeling like I can come back to it. No,
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
not.
as always, form your own opinion. If you like it, then continue watching it. But if you watch the opener and you're like, "It's okay," then, like, kinda gauge on, your preference, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I know where I'm at. Because it's funny because this was a show that me and Hannah watched. And then I was getting ready. I was like, "Oh, Matt's already started. Like, do you want to watch the morning show?" She's like, "You could watch it and just tell me if it's good." Like, I guess she's already dropped out.
Yeah, and so where do you feel?
I don't know yet. Like, it's kind of interesting, but in the retrospect of everything else of other stuff that's coming out, it's like, well, I could wait. And then I already know it's gonna get pushed back, and it's gonna be a while probably before I return to it.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to, but it's just like it's not gripping me
Yeah.
like the first season did, or first two seasons,
I
I
mean
guess.
and that's fair. I mean, this is the fear of, the shows that get on for multiple seasons. If you don't have a way to engage, and keep the story going and engaging with it, then, as the seasons go on, it's not as, fun to watch, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But all right, yeah, let's move on to a show that a lot of people are talking about. Stranger Things 5, Volume 1. Volume 1. It's the first 4 episodes in the overarching series from the Duffer Brothers, and their very strategic release model of 4 episodes right before Thanksgiving. We have 3 episodes on Christmas Day, and then the finale that airs on New Year's Eve, and as well as you can watch the finale in theaters on New Year's Eve and on New Year's Day. And it's a lot of people are watching it. People they're giving Stranger Things so much shit, and they were complaining that the kids were old and like they're basically grandparents
Well,
now.
they are.
Like these kids are
That
no
is
longer in high school,
that is true.
and but yet everybody came out to watch the first 4 episodes like in a heartbeat. And I will say I enjoyed it very
Yeah,
much.
so did I. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I mean, I love what they did with Vecna, and just how they kind of changed him up a little bit, and he looked. I mean, he's got like this new monster look. He looks really. I mean, they made him look really good. There were a couple of twists, that I wasn't. I don't know if I was necessarily expecting it, but I think we knew something along that fashion was going to happen. Talking to Will in the
Yes.
end at the end of this season. It's really interesting the way they drop it because they drop it in a way that says, "Hey, you can start it with your free trial, but if you want to finish it, you're going to have to pay that money."
Yeah.
Right? Because if you look at
And
their
let's be
timing,
honest.
because they only give you a month. So like if you wanted to watch it when it dropped, it's like, oh well, your month expires before the volume 2 and the finale come out. I kind of just wish they had just dropped it all at once. Just give people the
I think
the
it's smart
binge.
though.
Oh, of course it's smart. It's a
It's
smart
so
finance.
smart though.
It's smart. I just want it all at once, or do it all. Do the first volumes and then leave the finale for New Year's Eve.
That's fair. I mean that can work too. I actually really like the release model. I think it's clever. It's something unique. It's something to build towards, something to get excited for. Everyone's home for the holidays anyway, so forget your family. Go watch Stranger Things. That's basically what they're saying. And it's at night, so like you can spend the day with your family, but you really want to spend the evening with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I think it's smart because a lot of people are already home. So if they really want to capitalize on the most viewership, now is the time on one of the biggest shows on your streaming platform. It's it's very genius, and also it's very well written. It's very well orchestrated. Like these characters are still, really interesting to watch, and I love the different dynamics they go between like these different groupings of it. And I just love how they kind of put a plan together and see it orchestrated. It's never uh, it's never boring to see that come together. And I think the Duffer Brothers, films that the actors are great in it, like the script and how describing what your plan is, and then executing that plan, see how it goes wrong. The drama that's happening within the characters. I think everything is so well done. Like I was like rushing to start the next episode because I thought it was so well put together. And then with the that season, that kind of volume one drop of like now we just unleashed this huge plot twist, kind of sort of something that's kind of I kind of saw coming,
Yeah.
but also at the same time they did a really good job. Like this is how a finale should be, in my opinion. Of like, here is this character that you've been seeing from day one, and see the evolution of that character, specifically with Will, and see where he is now. That's end game. That's end game thinking right there.
Hmm.
Like let's take what you know from these characters from season 1 and other seasons and kind of really tie that in within the story and kind of sprinkle it in throughout the seasons to make it worth something by the end. And that's what we watch. That's why we watch these shows. We want to see, you know, we want to see the payoff from watching the previous season. We want to see how this comes to an epic conclusion. And I think where they left off, it was a great stopping point to be like, man, I gotta wait a whole month to see what happens next, and then you get a week for the finale. But I think that they did. It's arguably, I'm not sure if it's their best season, but I am really enjoying how this one is playing out, and seeing where it takes us. And I will say, people's got to die.
Yeah. We need to see at least one or two main character deaths. Like
Mhm.
give us some real stakes.
Yeah, I also like that Dustin is getting like you can see that he's experiencing like grief
Hmm.
from the fallout from Eddie, in the previous season. I like that kind of how that's rolling over and how like it feels like he's the only one that cares in the midst of all the other character drama that's happening. But his one in particular, I find that it's interesting because he's always the happy one, the positive one, and they kind of give him a character shift in this season, which is different from what we normally used to.
I mean, yeah. I mean, him getting his ass beat. I mean, that was pretty wild. And it's funny you mentioned like binging it. Like we watched all 4 episodes in one day.
Yeah, we did was it? I think we did one and then three. Like we or yeah, that sounds about right. One then three. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next with Stranger Things, and probably the next time we talk about it, it will probably be the volume 2 and the finale at this point.
Yeah.
The back half of the 4. But
Yeah.
I will also just if I was gonna knock a little bit, it was a little as much as I was having fun watching it, excuse me, I felt that the buildup was a little bit slow at the end of the day, if that makes sense. Like a lot happened, but not a lot happened at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as like major plot points, like there's like a couple of things that happen, but it didn't happen until like the very, very end.
Yeah, and then we also get an update of what's going on with Max, which I find interesting. We can see what kind of Vecna's been kind of doing behind the scenes, so we're getting information about that. And so, like, I feel like we're a lot of this front half of the season is a lot of setup,
Yeah.
and so I'm expecting the payoff to happen on the last 4 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So,
also, don't get me wrong; these episodes are like an hour and a half each,
yeah.
so we're watching mini movies.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like each episode, like you're only 4 episodes, but each episode is literally a movie.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I'm loving what Stranger Things putting out so far. I'm excited to see how it ends. Yeah, go ahead.
So we got Zootopia 2. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the way that you start, and
like,
we have this one now.
yeah,
so
we got
there's
this
that.
one. Yeah, there's Stranger Things, and then we got Zootopia. Zootopia 2. I actually have to say, like, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I had a great time going to the theaters with my kids to watch this. We watched the original. We watched the first one the day before, and then Sunday morning we went out to the theater, and the theater was packed. Like the theater was filled with people. I mean, there was a lady with her 6-month-old baby that was crying down the aisle. But guess what? I didn't care. I'm not gonna knock her too much because it's a kids movie. So like I get it. But I thought it was really good. It had a lot of good. It's still kind of showcasing like the stereotyping and racism, the kind of some of the same themes that were relevant in the first ones. Inequalities between different animals, and this they did it with the what were they? Who were they? Cats or what kind of animals were the bad guys? Where were they? Or some kind of cat, like tiger, something like a mountain lion. I don't know.
Yeah, mountain lion sounds about right.
Or like a cat, or I don't know. But it was interesting that they put them as like these massive land developers, and it was a good story. And then we had the people who they perceived reptiles as bad, and they took away their land. We also got like this marsh. What was it called? It was like a marsh market or whatever, or it was like swampland area.
Yeah.
I really love this whole new setting that they brought us into, and like this this like underwater boat bar thing. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. A lot of good subplots. Like, they gave us Burning Man, but it was Burning Mammal. Like, and there was like a lot of little jokes in there. Like, I found myself like actually laughing out loud during the entire movie.
There is so many cameos and
Yeah.
so many Easter eggs in this movie.
Yes.
I feel like there is a large amount of them. Like they found every which way to throw in a cameo or a reference or something throughout this movie. I did also watch the first one again because I don't remember ever watching it since it came out. Believe it or not, 9 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
It's been a minute since the first one came out, and I mean, obviously, it came out in full force because we'll talk about the box office in a second. But it's $1 billion movie already, and the movie just came out, about 3 weeks ago, and so it got there very quickly. However, like I do find it, like I feel like this is in a way like I didn't think this was a movie that a lot of people were gonna, you know,
It was a
I didn't
surprise.
see this as $1 billion movie. Like, I feel like there was a lot of love for Moana throughout the years, and they've been bringing that up. And so Moana 2 making $1 billion wasn't a surprise to me. Zootopia making $1 billion was a huge surprise to me because it was a movie that came out 9 years ago. I didn't think a lot of people still talked about it. I still enjoy the first movie quite a bit, but not a movie. It's got one of those like one hits. Like we had
Mm.
one good movie, let's move on to the next one. That's how Disney used to make movies. Now they're sequelizing everything, but it's coming in full force obviously with the sequel. I do have a problem with this movie, and you mentioned it already. It's the same movie.
It kind of is.
It's like you said, it's still dealing with the same themes. We even got a twist. We got the same twist. The same
No.
twist that like
Well, yes and no, because in the first one, the sheep, so you had the prey who became the predator. Like she was the
Yes.
bad guy. Whereas this one is where this one was like hiding in plain sight. Like you thought he was bad, but then he tried to come
Well,
off
no,
as good, but he was really just trying to be accepted by his family. So it was like this whole little sneaky plot to take him out anyway.
right. I believe that that character was voiced by Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, as I'm watching this movie, it just feels like a lesser version of what the first one was, but almost identical to what the first movie was. Like it presents the problem. I mean, with the first movie had a little bit of a better beginning because you have like this bunny cop, this bunny who wants to be a cop and has these big dreams and aspirations to go to Zootopia and make a difference. Right? Then when she gets there, she realizes that she can't really make the big difference, but she can make small changes. And then she wants to be the person she wants to be. Or I guess the bunny. She wants to be the bunny she wants to be. And she's not letting anyone you know, stop her to be, to do the right thing basically and to kind of follow her gut. And I rewatched the first movie and after watching it, I was like, damn, this movie still holds up. It's like
Hmm.
really good.
Yeah. It's
And
great.
then I literally watched the second movie and it's almost beat for beat the same movie. And
Uh,
like I feel like the themes are the same and like the plot twist happened here and the emotional beat happened here and then at the very end we have a Shakira song. Like
oh well,
like
that
that's
part, yeah. But I will say, like, you get this whole subplot between her and Nick Wilde where they're trying to figure out their relationship. Whereas this one, the first one, there was a little bit of that, but this one is more of like them as cops and like him trying to come to terms with who he is and like
right.
trying to be a part of something other than himself.
Did have you heard the not I wouldn't say they're not really rumors, but what people are talking about this movie specifically with Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde?
Mm-mm.
Apparently there was a lot of what they call sexual tension between the main character. Meaning that a lot of the subplot where they were talking about partners and communicating and all that stuff, which is really prevalent to if you are trying to communicate with your, your coworker.
Yeah,
But it's a lot of the same themes of like trying to build a relationship.
yeah,
And apparently there was a lot of what people have noticed, whether it was I doubt it was intentional, but maybe it was, I don't know, like sexual tension between the two main leads as if they were having a romantic relationship and yet they were having problems within their relationship. Not work related, but other situations. And they kind of made fun of it a little bit when they're writing that that whale, not whale, like a
it's like a walrus or something.
walrus, yeah, and they're like and she kept saying happy anniversary, but the anniversary was their working anniversary, but he was like, "It's your anniversary," and then he turns on the fairy lights, and then he plays romantic music, and so they kind of played into that, but, like, I when I was watching the movie and I saw I was like, "Yeah, I can see where people are getting that from, but clearly that is not the point of the movie."
No, that's not the point of the movie, but they did not. I mean, it's not. They blurred the lines in a way where you can interpret both. Because there was a moment when they're at the gala, and he
Yes.
makes a mention
Yes!
of how she's dressed, and I mean, she looks nice. She's dressed up very nice. They have her dress very nice. So it, I mean, it was. I can see that, but it was clear that they didn't really push it. You know what I mean?
No, but it's weird that they even included it in the first place. Because if I'm not mistaken, the creators came out and said, "Oh yeah, I don't know where I don't know where people are getting the sexual tension from." But actually, you brought up a really good point about like Nick was checking her out when she came out and with that dress on. You're like, well, wait a minute, you don't just add that scene in there and tell me that you're not purposefully doing that. And then like he's like stuttering is like, oh, you kind of look nice.
Oh,
Like
also in the beginning of the movie, when they're going undercover, they go undercover as a married couple with a baby.
yes, yeah, yes. Yeah, it's in there a lot. And then basically, like at the very end of the movie, like when he almost died, and then again, spoilers in some cases for this movie, he almost dies and she saves him. And then after their near death experience, they both openly have a conversation with one another and talking about their deepest fears. And that that whole event was able for them to openly communicate healthily and then, push the story forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, I still really enjoyed this movie. I
Yeah.
thought it was a lot of fun. It was great for kids. There's a lot of moving parts. I thought the beaver was hilarious.
Yes.
Um, and so like I think Ki Hu Kwan, who played the snake, he was just like a passive character.
Yeah.
I really thought they could have dived in more because he kept saying he wanted to save his family or his species,
His
but
family.
we never really see his family till the end, or really get to see his emotional connection with his race, or I guess his species in this case, and the family. But it was like more of like overall about the reptiles, but really it's specifically about the snake. And I feel like that didn't really have the emotional weight that I would have wanted, that I kinda got from the first movie.
Maybe I was just wrapped up in the movie because I enjoyed it. Like I was here for it. Like I think the broader was him trying to find a home for all the reptiles, but it also directly affected him and his family, the
Right.
D Snake family.
Yes, yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, there was a lot of fun references in there. One of my favorite ones, because I'm a Back to the Future nerd, was Michael J. Fox played Michael the Fox, and he was a fox that was in the prison cell when Nick was walking through, and Michael the Fox was beating up somebody else, and then he turns to Nick and he's like, "What are you looking at, butthead?" And I was like,
Oh,
"Classic."
I must have missed that.
Yeah, I knew that he was in it. I just didn't know where. And then as soon as he said that line, it's like, "Motherfucker, that's you right there."
There it is.
There it
There's
is.
Marty.
Ah, gotcha. I
Gotcha,
got
bitch. He just needed to
Um,
have the vest on.
yeah, exactly. It would have been amazing. There was a very clear Shining reference in that movie when they were like
Yes.
going through the maze.
The music and like the
Yes.
whole like the way they shot his character as he's walking through the maze. And I like
Yes.
how they just the flip on it is like, should we just follow him? And then they look at the bulldozer, thing, and they just chase him down with that. It's like, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. I really enjoyed. There was also another fun bit of where there was one of the polar bears that had a red scarf drinking a soda, and they were driving by and they take the scarf away from him to give the snake because it's cold. Easily a clear reference to Coca Cola and the bear. Like there's so many of them throughout this movie.
I didn't catch
That
that, but
it
I
just
get it
makes
now.
it a fun watch, and also fun to rewatch too.
Yeah,
Like I think as far as like Disney sequels go, I would watch this 100 times more than Moana 2
100%.
that came out last year at the same time and also made $1 billion. I think Disney has found their formula of like, if we want to make $1 billion, we put an animated movie on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was
Um,
just a fun time at the theaters.
yes. And speaking of that box office, the movie over the course of a 5-day holiday weekend, the movie opened massively with $156 million domestically, 556 million worldwide at the beginning, week one. At the time of this recording, the movie has made $258.5 million domestically, $878.8 million internationally, with a grand total of $1.135 billion. And yeah, clearly this was
That's
an
crazy.
international hit
Oh yeah,
that came out of this. I mean, if you look at domestically, roughly 300, almost to 250, a little over $250 million, encompassed the United States. But that international market, they love their Zootopia.
they
That is
do.
very clear. Are you trying to see what the major market is from?
Yeah, it looks like Belgium, the Netherlands. Oh, hold on. What's this
Where's
number?
China?
That's a good question. Oh, they
China
have
would be the one that's
the Asian
taking
market.
over. Yeah, the Asian market for sure. 12, 27.
Oh, here
I'm
it
not
is.
seeing. Oh, there it is. Whew!
Yeah, that'll do it.
Holy shit. So in China alone, it has taken up $502 million, is encompassing that growth.
271 million of that is just opening weekend.
Oh my God.
Or
So
even
half,
Mexico. Look at Mexico, 24, almost 25 million.
wow. So half of its box office success came from China.
Of course.
That's
Well,
crazy.
they got to support Ki Hu Kwan.
I guess so. Yeah, he's like, oh, he's in the movie. Oh, we gotta watch.
We got to watch it for him.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny probably, kicking themselves in the foot now because like, oh, we should have put Ki Hu Kwan in the movie. Would have made $1 billion.
Would have made all the money.
All the money. But it makes a lot of sense. This
Yeah.
movie's a lot of fun. And the first movie was it was so good. And I do think the second movie doesn't compare to the original, but regardless, it was still a lot of fun. Where would you rate this?
If I had to give it a rating, see, I had a really good time, so I'm thinking like 4.5 because I could go back and I could rewatch this movie a bunch of times and just to see what other references I got. It was just a fun time. The kids loved it. And also the kids loved it. Zebros.
Yeah. Zebros. Yeah. For me, I'm sitting at a solid 3.5.
3.5. Wow,
Yeah.
Matt, that's rough.
So,
How about a 4?
As far as you, sorry.
How about a 4?
It's like you want to reevaluate that.
Can we meet in the middle at 4?
We're definitely meeting in the middle of 4. As far as a box office binges rating, it's a 4. But yeah, I think because I was such on a high up after watching the first movie, and like I just felt like I was watching the same thing. So like as much as I was having a good time watching the second one, but it didn't add anything, in my opinion.
You know they're gonna make a third one.
Of course they're gonna make a third one. What are you talking about? This movie made $1 billion. Of course we're getting a third one. They're not gonna let money sit on the table.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, they love these animals and clothes. We gotta make it.
We can't make these anymore.
Zootopia, we're going for a 3P. Anyway, I do think like again, these movies are fun. I just don't think it added much as far as like depth to what was already established into the first movie.
Mm.
And so I think the biggest change from movie 1 to movie 2 was the character dynamic between Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Like their relationship is definitely changed and has grown from the first movie to the second movie, and we can see that as they're having complications within their partnership, and so we can kind of see that overcome. But everything else, it's kind of the same. Like we're seeing returning characters come back. They didn't really grow. Like the officer didn't change. The cheetah didn't change. The funny mafia rat mouse thing didn't change.
Yes, they have a big family now. And but they did bring that bit back where like they met with them, but now instead of her having her marriage, she has a baby and she's running this whole operation.
Yeah, I get it, but it's just like fun bits throughout this movie.
Yeah,
which is fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. Like I like watching that, but it didn't add anything to it. I'm looking for depth in my Disney.
I need depth.
I need depth in my Disney movie. Because the first one gave me that.
Okay.
Like I was surprised when they gave that turn. I was like, oh my God, this movie's not just about animals, it's about presidents. Like, whoa, how did this come about?
Yeah, and I guess this one goes along the same. It's the same thing, but it's all these different animals learning how to coexist together.
Right. Yes. But again, not a different story than what was presented in the first movie. So I really like to see if they,
change it up a little bit.
Change it up a bit in the third movie.
Okay. All right, that's fair.
But yeah, Zootopia 2, 4 out of 5 stars.
All
right. Moving on to a movie we're going to give our spoiler review. We're still going to talk about it heavily for the most part. Maybe not heavily, but we're still going to talk about it as we are right now.
Yeah.
Hamnet, the newest movie from Chloe Zhao, who did the Oscar-winning film Nomadland and The Eternals, which I thought was a pretty solid Marvel movie, but clearly was not well received.
No, I actually kind of like. I actually like the Eternals.
Yeah, so did I.
It's not that bad. It's just different.
So this is the movie to come right afterward. It's based off of a novel. Let's see here.
Isn't it the same name?
Yeah, the 2020 novel, the same name by Maggie O'Farrell. Sorry, O'Farrell. Maggie O'Farrell. Yeah, thanks. Makes sense.
Maggie O'Farrell. Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of takes place the overarching story, and I feel like that there's a not there's a lot going on, and there's not a lot going on. And like I'm sure for people who are familiar with the story, and for people who are familiar with William Shakespeare, and for the people who like this type of filmmaking, you took a lot out of this movie. But quite honestly, I did not. And I think that's one of the reasons why, and I think Ernesto can agree that one of the reasons why we decided that I feel like if we decided to do this as a spoiler review, it was going to take a lot out of us to try to force something that didn't feel like we want to talk about all too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say this movie's bad. This movie is not bad at all. Actually, I think
Right.
it's well put together. It's a great narrative. It's just I think for me it just wasn't for me. And I also this is a movie I felt like maybe I should have watched the trailer because I kind of went into it blind. So I
Mm.
spent a lot of the beginning of the movie trying to figure out like who these people are, what we were doing, and I think it took me a minute to become invested into the story at all. It took a while to grab me. It was like I'm all for a slow build, but for me it was too slow.
Yeah, it was incredibly so. And I did know this movie was about William Shakespeare and his family and the death of his son. Like, I knew that. I just didn't think it was going to go down that way. It all of a sudden became very spiritual,
Yeah.
and I wasn't expecting that from this movie at all. And I don't know how much of this from the book is obviously there's a lot of fact and fiction. I was watching a breakdown and it was explaining how this movie has taken like it has like the main story beats of fiction, and then it kind of sorry, of nonfiction. Like it took a lot of the same story beats that actually happened, like the death of his son and some of like the meeting of how he met his wife and the play at the very end were all things that actually happened. Where the movie takes some liberties was the in between.
Mm.
So a lot of the spiritual stuff, a lot of like doing heavy research and kind of implying that things were this way and kind of filling in the gaps after this large amount of research. And that's what came from the book Hamnet. That was, the name of his son and based off the popular play Hamlet. Um
Yeah, because
and
I
so
guess it's been heavily speculated throughout time that Hamlet is based off of the death of his son Hamnet.
yes, yes.
Which
And so
which
that's
is
kind
which
of what
was
the
news to
movie
me. Which is I guess I don't remember either. I don't remember from school, or I just that's just not a fact that I knew. So, I mean, it's interesting. It was interesting, kind of like basically like how was Hamlet made? That's how basically like what is the inspiration from it? Um,
Yeah,
it,
and I feel like as far as main story beats are concerned, that's it.
yeah,
Like, and I feel like I wanted to, like, be more engrossed in the movie, but because of its kinda slow burn approach, it was like the main story beats were, um, man meets woman, man marries woman, man has family makes a family with his wife, and then he decides to go away because he can't handle the life that he's living, but he has to go to the city to start writing plays, but that's not the focus of the movie. We really much stay true to Jessie Buckley as William Shakespeare's wife and kind of sticking it through her perspective. So much so that in the award circuit, Paul Mescal is being looked at as a supporting character, not a main character, which I find interesting.
yeah, which I
Um,
which I totally see because she was
yeah,
definitely the main focus. And to me, like this movie, it kind of plays like a stage play. Like it doesn't really,
yeah,
it's very dramatic in its depiction. But like the scene where her son dies, like that was probably that is her scene in this movie. I mean, like
yes,
watching your son die in your hands, like right in front of you, that's got to be like I was totally invested in. Like even though certain parts I was kind of pulled out, there's certain parts of the movie that really locked me in, and that was one of them. And I would say the other one is at the very end where she's watching the play at the end of the movie. At the end,
right, yes,
like in the theater. I thought that was really really well. I thought that was really real well done, and kind of it was interesting to see that basically they're saying that this is how he processed his grief of his son is that he wrote Hamlet.
yeah, and that's a good way of looking at it. But I feel like we had a 2-hour movie to tell you that, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
that's
I
kinda
get
where
you.
I'm
Yeah.
that's where I was like, "Okay, I feel like not a lot of happened in this movie," because if you knew just going in that this was a movie about the death of his son, we don't get that until an hour into the movie. So the first half of this movie is him meeting his future wife and building a family and then leaving said family to go write plays in a different city. Then, he comes and visits. He has this great relationship with his children. And then they highlighted some of the relationships he had with his son when he does visit. But then there's also some interrelationship issues with him and his wife because he keeps leaving. And it's like, you're never here, you're not present, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, and then, they come down with this illness that apparently was once uh given to his twin sister, and then somehow throughout in this movie per se, it was passed on to to his kid, and then he dies in the middle of all that, but he kind of internally saves his sister, his twin sister, in that same regard. I guess that's what the movie is portraying,
Yeah, like
and then
he spiritually like took it away from her.
right, and then the movie is now following the grief, and we see them argue, and then according to Jesse Buckley, he's like, all he's doing is, he has to go away, and there's this play, and then for the end of the movie, it's very moving that she gets to see this play, and she comes in with so much like disdain and anguish and like heartbreak and like
Hmm.
why this is what he's spending all of his time with, and then she actually sees the play, and then she sees it for what it is and like, oh wow, this is a masterpiece, this is so moving, this is so emotional, and this is all about my son. It's like this is what he's been doing while he was away, and she was able to take that in and kind of process grief differently
Hmm.
with like it was almost like this was a way for her to I don't want to say let go of her son, but kind of a way to kind of move on throughout this play.
Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of felt that way.
Well,
And
because
that
then
was it.
they had this whole disconnect in the end where, she was upset with him because he wasn't processing grief kind of, I guess, the way that she would, or like very
Mhm.
differently. But it was just that he just operated differently. Like that's just not the how he wasn't going to do it that way. He was going to do it in the way that he did it by writing Hamlet. That
Right,
was a
and I
way for
can
him to
and then
kinda get it out, and it was like, even seeing him like, you could feel how invested he was when they're going through rehearsal, and he's like the kid kept reading it, and he's like, "No, dumbass, that's not how you read it. Read it the right
yeah,
way."
and quite honestly, for me, what have made a more interesting movie was to see, honestly, Shakespeare's perspective. Granted, that's not what this movie was about, but I think I would have been maybe more interested as far as what I would have preferred were to see Shakespeare experience his grief through the process of writing Hamlet.
We would have liked to have seen more of him. Like, we get a little bit of that. I think we get, like, 2 or 3 scenes of him kind of going through the process of writing it, but I agree with you, maybe more of him, of, like, kinda going through different parts of the story and then seeing how he constructed it and what the connection of that is to his son.
Right. And I think to me that and just as far as this is not what the story that was presented. Clearly, this was not what the book was. But to me, that's a more interesting story of seeing that unfold. And this way, we get a different side. Is more the perspective of his wife and the grief that she's going through, and then kind of like it being William Shakespeare is definitely more of a background story. The main story, if you look at it, was you know the grieving process of a mother losing her child
Yeah.
through this like plague that was going on. But yeah, I mean, to your point, it's just it was a very slow movie, but it was also to your point, it was beautifully shot, well acted. Nothing, all credit due to Jesse Buckley and Paul Mescal and the way that it was directed, the way that it was, the cinematography, the music was all nice. It all looked great. It was just overall when it was put together, just if you're not into that type of movie,
Yeah.
no matter how beautiful it looks, it's just not gonna, engage you. And it happens. Like,
Yeah.
you definitely have to be into that type of storytelling and into that type of filmmaking and also invested into the story. Probably prior knowledge would have helped, in addition to maybe if you read the book and you're, a William Shakespeare aficionado, all
Yeah.
that would have probably changed your perspective on how you view this film.
Yes, but also I feel like when you watch a movie, like, it should give you that. It should, like, the watching this movie should make me want to go read the book.
Yeah.
and I don't think I felt that. But I think I agree with everything you said. But I also think as far as like awards, I think Jesse Buckley for acting, probably Paul Mescal as well. Definitely production design. I mean, the way they recreated the theater, I thought that was beautiful. I mean, it was just the way whatever they did for the construction of that it must have been amazing. And with every period piece, if it's done right, you always hit them for costuming.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm trying to see what nominations it has gotten so far as the critics and the Golden Globes. In addition to the Best Picture that we have here, let me go through. It actually has quite a few for critics. So for critics, it has Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, Best Young Actor Actress for look like Jacob Jupe, not sure. Best Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume Design, Best Score, Best Production Design, and Best Casting Ensemble. So quite a bit
Mm.
for the Critics' Choice Awards. And then as we go to the Golden Globes, it was nominated for Best Picture Drama, Best Performance, um, Best Actress for Jessie Buckley, Best Supporting Actor for Paul Mescal, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Original Score. So, yeah, I can definitely seeing all that makes a lot of sense. Like those awards are
hmm
100% valid. I don't know if it's going to stand above the rest. I feel like this might be one of those movies where it's highly awarded
Like
or highly
nominated.
nominated, but not much awards are going that way.
Yeah, we'll have to
Um,
see. We'll have to see what
we'll
it
definitely have
gets.
to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, where is your 5-star rating on this?
I'm kind of floating between a 3 and a 3.5. Because I do think, like, even though it wasn't for me, the performances were very strong.
Yes. Yeah. I can do 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is weird because that's the same score I gave Zootopia to, and I enjoyed it
Oh,
a lot.
well, look at that, Matt. Look at that. Look
So
at
maybe I'm
that.
so maybe I'm floating a 3 at this point. But yeah, 3.5 is fair. I think that's a fair rating. You know, it's all about presentation, and this movie does that. Is just I think the way that the story flows is just not as engaging, which is again not meant to be. But it also just shows the range of a filmmaker of Chloe Zhao because she gave us 3 very different movies from Nomadland, The Eternals, and now Hamnet.
That's true.
So she's definitely showcasing herself as a director that understands the material that she's given
Mm,
and can give us different films
that's a good point.
in the process. So
So even for that, I'll add Best Director to my list for nominations
okay,
because I
okay.
think that's a really good point.
But yeah, anyway, that's our mini review on Hamnet. So now we're moving on to our spoiler review of Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, written and directed by Ryan Johnson, and once again starring our infamous detective Daniel Craig. Ernesto, your thoughts on the film?
Yes. So before we get started, you asked a question earlier about why is Glass Onion an adapted screenplay and not original. So I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
It was classified as an adapted screenplay for award purposes, most notably earning a nomination at the 95th Awards because it functions as a sequel to the original Knives Out. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
What?
Like, even though
That
Glass Onion isn't directly based on a novel, play, or other pre-existing source material outside the first film, it's an original story in terms of plot, but the use of Detective Benoit Blanc and the overarching Knives Out whodunit framework ties it to the prior installment. I don't agree with that at all.
that doesn't make any sense.
No,
It's an
no,
original script based off of a franchise. That's
no. Right? That is I do not agree with that whatsoever.
yeah, it's adapted from your previous work. What? That's okay. Maybe they wanted to squeeze it in a different category.
Or maybe
That
because
was a
they
loophole.
knew, or maybe because they knew it wasn't going to win original. So then if they wanted to give it a better chance, they put it in adapted so that the one that they wanted to win original would win. What one? Sorry, I'm curious now. Who won original screenplay that year? Oh, well, that makes sense. What won original screenplay that year was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah,
So,
that
okay.
one had no chance.
Of course, they're like, well, it ain't going up against that movie. See, but that
maybe we do the other one.
see, but I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that this is just a side conversation. I just don't. I don't think that that's fair. It should technically be original, but just because you wanted it to win, you find a way to move it categories. I don't really agree with that.
Yeah, whether that makes sense or not, I'm very curious because we were definitely doing the podcast then. If we had even thought about that. Did we already have this conversation like 3 years ago? I have no idea.
It's very possible that we might have, but I don't know. I feel like I would have remembered that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I have a very strong opinion about what I just read. Like I just don't I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think it's very clear that was done so that it had a better chance of winning in the other category, which I don't think is fair.
Yeah. I agree with your disagreement.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I agree that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, well, it's adapted because you're using the same character. No, that's called a sequel.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works at all. This makes zero sense whatsoever. But anyway, so I guess this one now also falls as an adapted screenplay, I guess.
Now, it will be interesting if they try to put this one as original and not adapted. But all right, so talking about Wake Up Dead Man, the third movie in the Knives Out in franchise installment, whatever you want to call it. But I actually really enjoyed this one. I actually enjoyed this one better than I enjoyed Glass Onion. I just felt like the story was a little bit better. The characters were a little bit more compelling. Like, especially my favorite has to be Josh Brolin's character, the Monsignor. Like, I just felt like he was just such a force of nature. Like, he just embodied this this person. Like, when he came in the room, like, he just everything just went towards him, like very egotistical, very like demanding of the space that he was in. It was really well. I thought it was really well done. I actually didn't figure it out until about halfway through the movie.
Okay. I was pretty much, I didn't really figure it out until they told me. Like, it could go a lot of different ways. I don't know. I was along for the ride. Like I mentioned earlier, I saw this movie in theaters, and I was kind of spectacle, going into the third movie. I just felt like, specifically with the trailer, I felt like the trailer was going in like a darker direction from the other movies, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna enjoy this movie. Like, the trailer kind of set off this tone, and I wanted to see it in theaters, and so I went to the theaters and I saw it, and I was like, I really hope this is like something that I would like in the theater rather than just me. I could have just watched this at home. And I was pleasantly surprised on my skepticism, because literally out of the gate, it's a comedy and it's hilarious, and the humor is so clever. And Ernesto, let me tell you, it's been a very long time that I was in a theater full of people and we were all laughing in unison.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
I don't feel like I get that often. Because I didn't expect this movie to be a comedy. I expected maybe a little bit more serious, and there was a ton of humor in this movie that was just firing on all cylinders, and I couldn't just help but to laugh. And the comedic timing of everyone and the writing is so good
Mm,
in this movie. It's so good.
so
I
original.
loved. Sorry.
It's so original. Sorry.
Indeed, yes, it is original. Josh Brolin as
Monsignor.
Monsignor.
Or Wicks. Yeah, Monsignor Wicks.
Monsignor Wicks, when he was like, all right, or what is it? What is Josh Brolin?
When he was talking
Not
about
Josh Brolin.
masturbating.
Josh O'Connor. What is he? He said, is it? He's a priest, right?
Yeah.
He's a priest. Um, and he was like, "Hey, I'm here to give you my confession," and he just talks about
All
masturbating.
the different times that he's masturbated and things that he's masturbated to. Well, and see, you bring up clever writing when he talks about masturbating into the magazine, and then the very next scene, the priest goes to his room, and that magazine is on his nightstand.
Right there, died.
Yeah.
It's so well written there. And I'm just like, it was just so unexpected. And like, I was listening. Obviously, you're watching the movie. It's like, wait, what did he just say? And then he just keeps going and going, and you can see the reaction from Josh O'Connor's face, and it's just like, what, what is he telling me? And he's like, oh, okay. And then obviously there was all a ruse because he wanted to like um, kind of intimidate him in a way, make him feel uncomfortable, and kind of wanted him to leave immediately. It was all a big ploy, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna, make sure this is the like, this could be a good church, and you're just ruining it." And he was like on a mission to try to make it a better place. But I think they introduced, I would say, half of an interesting cast. I don't think everyone was as involved in this mystery as his other films, and
Oh,
I don't feel like everyone, like, as far as the cast of characters that were presented, like, some of them didn't really need to be there. That they didn't really focus on their story at all, and the side plots that they gave them just didn't really amount to anything at the very end. And unfortunately, the 2 characters I'm talking about specifically was Kerry Washington's character and Kaylee Spaney's character.
see, I would actually argue that the writer guy, we didn't need him at all.
Oh, Andrew Scott.
Yeah,
He was like, yeah.
he was like a whatever writer, but like he didn't need. Like, I felt like he didn't really give anything to the plot. Whereas Kaylee Spaney directly, her character was basically funding, like she was rich, funding the church, and they kind of used her as like a somebody who believed in miracles, but really just needed the willpower. Like I felt like they gave her something, and whereas Kerry Washington, she was connected to the son, the boy who she raised, and I felt like
Yeah.
that, and that was Monsignor Wick's kid, and I felt like that itself had its own merit. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of connected. It kind of gave her a plot. It kind of gave her an arc to kind of follow. You know what I
I
mean?
can I can see the arc because you're right, because the movie presented it at first that it was her father
Hmm.
presenting his illegitimate,
Illegitimate.
thank you, son, and then something that she felt like she had to take care of. And I guess in this case, it would be more her brother in that sense, not
Yeah,
her, right? That would have been her brother
it would
that
have been
she
her
would be
brother,
taking
but
care
she
of.
basically
Yeah.
became his guardian.
Right, exactly. And all and then it was a whole ploy that it was never her father's son, but yet it was her father covering the fact that it was um Josh Brolin's son.
Yeah, and she
And
they kind of presented her as someone who she gave so much, and then it wasn't even like she really got nothing out of return out of it. She had to raise this
right.
like little asshole kid who she's actually not related to at all.
Right. So that's fair, but I feel like she was very much underutilized. And she was just there as a vessel to be like, I'm happy to be here, I'm happy to support my church, and then she kind of got screwed over. And then the focus still was on like this asshole um kid that
Mm.
she was kind of doing. And then with Kaylee Spaney, again, I didn't really feel like she offered much except for she was funding the church and then like all the things you just said. I just feel like there were more background characters, and mostly all of the other characters definitely pushed forward to the forefront.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean with Jeremy Renner as the doctor, and Glenn Close as like the I don't even whatever her role was at the church.
I guess she was an assistant, I guess, to the Monsignor.
Yes. Yeah, but she also was there from the beginning because, her she's directly related to finding the the diamond, the family, the fortune for the church, you know.
Right, but it made it seem like she always knew where it was.
She did. She did. She was the only one. She was the only one who knew where it was. But
Right.
that was the whole kickoff of the plot of which I
Oh,
guess
because she revealed it in confession, so then Josh Brolin wanted it.
yes. Yes.
I see. Okay. So then Josh Brolin was like, "Oh, now I need to get this diamond." And then she had to come up with this elaborate ruse to not only kill the Monsignor, but also secure the diamond.
Yeah. Which ended up back into the church anyway, which they wanted to keep it, which I guess was the whole point of it, because the original guy swallowed it and I guess choked to death on this diamond, and he got
Yeah.
buried, and then he buried himself with it. But then the priest, he built the new cross, and then he basically, which they never, I don't know if they actually showed it at the last second, but it was heavily implied that the diamond was in the cross that he remounted.
Yeah, they kind of showed it. They showed like a shine, a
Like
glimmer,
a glimmer, right? Yeah, yeah,
a twinkle at the end of the movie. Like the sun hit it, and then like there was like a reflection.
At the heart of the church is its fortune.
There
in,
it is.
in Jesus.
You got it. And now he wants to find, because then the Monsignor, I guess he was somehow involved as well, because he felt like he was entitled to the fortune.
hmm
So at that point, was he related to the family fortune, or was he the son of the harlot, I guess, that they presented in the beginning of the movie?
I think so. Yeah, he was the son of the harlot, and then because then that's why Cyrus wanted it, because he was Monsignor's son, so he felt like he was owed that fortune.
Right, exactly. And then, Glenn Close, she always wanted it in the church, and so when that was jeopardized, she wanted to beat him to it. Which now I'm a little bit confused, because why she wanted the diamond if she knew where it was, and you already killed the person you told, unless more people knew about it that I don't remember. And then she again come in with this elaborate rules. That part's a little bit,
Well, it was her, the doctor, and the gardener.
yes, that knew about it.
Yeah, because remember, that's who comes out of the.
Yeah, but they were part of the ruse. But what did they get out?
We never got that far, because remember, then he Josh Jeremy Renner's character, the doctor, he kills the gardener.
Yes, the Sandman, if you will.
Yes.
Played by Thomas Hayden Church.
Mm.
But yeah, I feel like there was some. I feel like this movie for me definitely requires another rewatch. Because some of the plot details are a little bit
Little fuzzy on you.
little fuzzy. But overall, I thought it was a great movie, and like I very much credit Ryan Johnson's writing. That was very much in the forefront, and I was cracking up more often than I thought I was. Like the fact that Glenn Close kept scaring Josh O'Connor was hilarious. um, Daniel Craig as
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc, he does such a good job.
It's just so different. It's just so funny, because like it's so different because he's 007. You know what I mean? It just kind of plays to how versatile he is as an actor.
Yes. And also like how, I guess, clever he is, or like the way that he approaches I guess his investigation. It's very unorthodox, very similar to Sherlock Holmes. And then he gets the results to come out of it. And then also is kind of playing on its own expectation, going back to the clever writing of like, I know I need to give my grand moment, and he needs to give like his checkmate
Mhm.
moment. And that's when he was kind of building toward, and he was like, "Oh, I don't think I'm gonna find my checkmate moment." He was very like selfish in a way. He's like, "I have to solve the murder." And then when he finally gets to that moment, you can see the sun kind of beaming into the church, and he decided to not blast who the murderer was in his checkmate moment, and decide to make it more of a quieter moment, because he understood the reasoning of why Glenn Close did it. And I thought that was an interesting subversion to what we would normally suspect, into like, now I'm going to tell you how I solved the murder.
Yeah,
And
but he it was interesting because he had a road to Damascus moment. Like, so it's just,
yeah,
it was a callback to his conversation with the priest about, the whole road to he's like, I had a road to Damascus moment.
and also for Josh O'Connor, what a hell of a performance from him as well. I mean, we recently discovered him last year in Challengers, and I thought he was great there too.
That's
And
right.
and then he plays the priest here, and his comedic timing in all this, and his approach to it, is so well done. Like him talking to the woman on the over the phone when he's trying to get that information, and he's like keeps stumbling over the words, and like he's not getting the information. Like it takes all night to try to get this, and then in a moment when I feel like his character is so genuine was that like he's trying to do this, but he's a priest first,
Mm.
and so even when he's having the conversations with Ben Benyon Block,
Benoit Blanc.
um, Benoit Blanc, he was like kind of convincing him to be like, or yeah, like convincing him that he is a good priest. Like you should, this is a profession you should go into because he had alcohol problems in the past, and like he went kind of down there, and he's going through a sober patch and trying to be a good priest, and he was always questioning himself, even if he was a good priest. And we saw throughout the movie of all the acts of kindness that he was preaching, um, and uh, and then kinda showcasing that at the very end when he gets to Glenn Close, and she was even like, "I think you're really good at this, I think this is you found your calling,"
Hmm.
um, and, like, was able to kind of hold on to her as she's kinda saying her last dying words, and I thought that was a really good turn for his character, kind of an arc for his character as he's like, "Yes, there is a mystery to be solved, but you also have this other priest who is like very radical, very aggressive, very harsh, and like kind of a dictatorship in his own uh community. And then you have someone who is trying to break that mold. I thought it was a good dynamic back and forth.
Well, yeah, and then and then it showed like the hate that he had for him. He's like, because
Yeah.
he felt that he probably could do it. He could be better. Like that's just this
Yeah.
is not how you lead your flock.
And again, that's kind of his motivation as well.
Yeah.
And then again, I think every character offered an interesting perspective. Like you mentioned the artist, and he was like, telling all this stuff. He's like, can I quote you? Like they're all kind of self-absorbed into their own little world in a
Mm,
way.
yes.
Um, and I think that's a lot of what his characters are in Ryan Johnson's movies. I don't really remember Glass Onion all that well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd have to go
I'm
back.
trying to remember.
I'd have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, to me, I'll be watching a brand new movie if I did that. Like, I don't remember much of anything.
Even the first one. First one, I don't
I
really
remember the first one quite a bit. Like, I remember who the murderer was.
see. I don't remember
I
that. I don't remember who the murderer was in the first one.
Oh, really? Okay, then I won't say it if you go back.
Okay.
Um, but I remember having a really good time with Knives Out, and then I remember saying that Glass Onion didn't really hit the same highs as Knives Out, and I think this one kind of rectified some of the downfalls as Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Because I thought this was a really good movie, really well put together, and a good like a good chase of who done it.
Hmm.
I think it was a good like it could have been anybody in that case. It was like a really good who done a mystery. I think he continued that trend of giving us entertaining characters, and also I don't know, I feel like it was way funnier than any of the movies that he gave us.
Yeah, I felt like the first one was more drama. Like it was funny, but it was a little bit more drama. And then the second one was like a little bit more. It was more comedy, and I feel like this one was a good balance of both. Still leaning more on the comedic side, but I feel like this one has a lot of the charm and that the first one does. Like it replicates a lot of what the first one did.
Yes, and I think they gave us either likable or interesting characters to kind of follow along and seeing what who done it at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I do remember quite a bit from the first movie, and again, I don't really remember much of the second. But I think all three of these movies, from what I can remember, are even though it's the same, it still has its own distinct style that Ryan Johnson presents in its writing and his presentation. That even subverting your own expectation that he's going to give his old big old checkmate explanation of who done it, and then it subverts that by not going down that route. That was probably prevalent in the first two movies, and by this overdrawn, long explanation of who killed whoever. But I think he finds clever ways to, I would say, keep challenging himself to write these interesting murder mysteries from you know from basically from his own mind. Like these aren't adaptations of written work, and I feel like we don't really get that
mm-mm,
anymore.
no,
Um, so yeah, I thought all that was really interesting. Um, Unless you have anything else to say, your 5-star rating and your final thoughts.
So I'm gonna go. I really enjoyed it. So I'm floating between a 4 and a 4.5.
Okay. I'm gonna go 4.5.
4.5. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it was it's a solid movie. It's a solid addition to the franchise. It replicates a lot of what the first one did. Um, see if I had to rate them, I'd probably go 1, 3, 2.
Mhm. Same. Yeah, 100%. Like, I think this is a vast improvement from what the second movie had gave us, and between likable characters and funny moments and just entertaining throughout, and again, kind of going through the charades of each of these characters, I think it presented more of a and again, I think for me, it's really the comedy. Like, I was not expecting to laugh as much as I did, and that for me increases the rewatchability on this movie. And I think as a trilogy as a whole, there's 3 distinct murder mysteries that offer something unique in and of itself that makes it even more valuable. Like in a way, this is an anthology series, which most murder mysteries are, but obviously our main through line is Daniel Craig. And that's pretty much it. Doesn't really rely on any of the murders that he's solved in the past. And this is a franchise that, as long as you have a clever script, you could do this forever.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. I like and I love that, and I think they do it in every movie. In every movie, when he introduces himself, they're like, "Oh, you're this person who solved this murder," but it's not. They never reference one of the other movies. It's always some other thing that he solved. So I mean, they could make these
Yeah.
movies for forever.
Yeah, they really could, and, like, as long as, if this is hitting the mark for Netflix, they can sign Ryan Johnson for another multi-year deal. They signed a huge contract, with him to develop, the 2 movies from the Knives Out. So, I am very curious if he's gonna decide to continue with this trilogy or this franchise, or if it's just, he had 3 movies in mind, he made those 3 movies, and that's it, and now he can move on to, and any other project he wants. And I think it's already stated that he said that he's like his Star Wars movies that he had planned are canceled.
Yeah,
He's
that's
no
right.
longer doing them. And honestly, I'm okay with that because these movies are way better than his Star Wars outing. I didn't mind Knives Out, but I think these movies are way more interesting. Sorry, I didn't mind The Last Jedi, but I think these murder mysteries are way more interesting than his um, you know, bout as a Star Wars director.
I mean, you only need Daniel Craig. You literally only need Daniel
Yeah.
Craig for these movies, and you can just hire a whole new. Everybody else can be brand new casts.
Yeah, and for Daniel Craig, for him, it was like he was I wouldn't say he was stuck in the James Bond role, but he was like he made 5 of those movies. So he was definitely in that other franchise hole. So when he came upon Knives Out, I'm sure he's having a lot of fun with this character because it's a little goofy as well. So to see him do now 3 rounds of this, I'm sure he's having a blast as much as anybody else is on that cast.
Yeah.
And with that accent, it's really, really engaging to watch. And it's again, I was very much surprised of how much I enjoyed this movie at the end of the day. And given its history, I could see it being a surprise nomination at the Oscars. It's not really being talked about. I just did a quickly look to see if it was nominated at the Critics or Golden Globes, and it's not. And it hasn't really been recognized in any major awards show so far, with the exception of the National Board of Review that we just talked about earlier. But I think it could, make a surprise like, oop, like Wake Up Dead Man got it for best original or adapted
Oh,
screenplay, depending on
well, we'll see. We'll see what is going to get nominated. Which one? But yeah, definitely, at least for writing.
I think that's Ryan Johnson's strongest asset is his writing, and
Mm,
I will like even if he doesn't direct, I will continue to watch any movie that he decides to write because
facts.
his writing is so engaging and so entertaining. And again, he did a really good job with this movie, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it when I felt like I wasn't going to. And it's almost in a way, it's like, oh, I like these Knives Out movies, but maybe this one's not going to be for me. And I was like, oh, I was wrong. This is actually really good.
This is for me.
This is for me. Give me another one, please, sir.
Please,
Well, we'll see what happens. Then I'm sure they'll make an announcement whether he continues or not, or what his next project.
yeah.
But there you go. That's our spoiler review on Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, and that is all the show we have for you guys this week. As always, you can follow us on our social media channels on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Box Office Bingers, our X and Letterbox page at Box Office Binger, and our Threads and Instagram page at Box Office _Bingers. The fun doesn't stop here. It continues on all of our social media channels, so be sure to give each one of those a follow. You can see what's new to streaming every Friday, and we'll give you the box office numbers every Sunday, as well as our movie reviews on our letterbox. And you can see our fun faces and short form videos on our Facebook, Threads, Instagram, YouTube page, and our TikTok page. And then you can see the full episode on our YouTube channel as well in video format to see our lovely faces and our images. I wouldn't really call it graphics or just saying. But either way, however you decide to ingest this content, we really do appreciate it. Tell the lovely listeners what they can look forward to next episode.
Next week, we are diving into the one and great James Cameron, the Avatar Fire and Ash. People talk a lot of shit about his movies before they come out. And they come out and they go, okay, well, that's why it made $1 billion. So, I think it's going to be, if I had to guess, it's going to be a technical masterpiece. I'm sure he's going to introduce some form of new 3D technology that everybody's going to try to replicate. Like, I don't watch 3D movies, but his movies that he makes in 3D, I know that he makes them on 3D like purposefully. Like that's the point of making this is like he makes an engaging 3D movie. He makes it worth watching. So I'm really excited to go see that next week.
I mean, just James Cameron alone. I mean, he has proven himself as a one hell of a filmmaker, and he makes his movies an event. And so, closing out the year with probably one of the biggest franchises out there, I'm all in, man.
Yeah, so am I.
Give me all the blue cats.
Give me the blue cats. Let me see them fly.
Let me see them fly. Let me see it on fire. Now put them in water. Yeah.
Yeah. Where we going next?
Where we're going next? We went from air, we went to land, we went to sea. Now we're on fire.
All right, now we're gonna go on the ground. The next one's gonna be underground.
And then Jake Sully's gonna I lost it already. He's gonna control all the elements.
He is the Avatar.
He's the Avatar. And then all of a sudden, Aang's gonna come up, and you're like, "Whoa, what is this story?" But yeah, I mean, Avatar, it's a hit. I'm very much looking forward to see how this story continues. And honestly, just visually, like his movies are worth seeing on the big screen. So just seeing that type of movie on the big screen once again, it's got our money. Got my money.
Here's my money.
Here's my money. Here it is. Here's my 3D money. Here you go. You can take it. So yeah, look forward to our review on Fire and Ash next week as we kind of close out 2025. That may be our last episode of the year. We might be able to squeeze in one more. We'll see. I'm not making any promises. But we do appreciate you guys listening to us just talk about movies each and every week. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Come back next week for more movie fun. You're not going to regret it. For that, I've been your host, Matt Diaz.
Been Ernesto Santos. See ya.